Hi there, welcome back to Mixing It with Mags. Today we are going to look at cookies, more specifically chocolate chip cookies. You don't have to make chocolate chip cookies if you don't want to. If you want to make peanut butter cookies or you have a special recipe at home, by all means feel free to make that. This is what I'm going to make for us today, some chocolate chip cookies. Let's start off with equipment. So you're going to need a small, medium kind of bowl and a little bit larger of a bowl. You're going to need your measuring cups and your measuring spoons. You're going to need something to mix it with. If you have an electric mixer and you want to use that, by all means you can use the electric mixer. I'm just going to use a plain old, well, this is a synthetic spoon, or wooden spoon if you had one. Okay, that'll work just fine. And then behind me here I've got my baking sheet, my flipper, and my oven mitts. Okay, for ingredients, in the recipe that I'm going to provide for you, you use two different types of flour. You're going to use regular white flour, and then I've got my whole wheat flour in the bag here. You're going to need white sugar, and I have brown sugar in this bag here, or in this box here. Some chocolate chips. I'm going to add some coconut to this recipe. Okay, baking soda, vanilla, margarine or butter if you have it, and eggs. Okay. Today I'm going to actually double the recipe that I'm giving you. If you want to double it, by all means go ahead. The recipe that I'm making for you, that I'm providing for you, has enough to make about 12 cookies. In my household that would last about 15 minutes. Okay, so I have to double that recipe or else I'm going to have unhappy campers here at the Magnuson household. Okay, so stay tuned and we'll be back in a second. So at the beginning of this recipe, you got to make sure you do a couple things. Make sure you wash your hands for sure for one thing, and make sure you preheat your oven to 350 degrees so you're not waiting for an oven to heat up while you've got your cookies all ready to go in there. Now if you come on over and look inside this bowl here, what I've done here is I've measured out my margarine, which again, like I said, I'm doubling the recipe, so it's a cup of margarine, a cup of brown sugar, and a half a cup of white sugar. Make sure you pack the brown sugar down into the measuring cup. When it pops out, it should look like a nice sandcastle like this one. In the other bowl over here, I mixed together my two types of flours and the baking soda, and I've given it a stir to and try and incorporate it all into the mixture. Okay, the chocolate chips and the coconut and stuff I'm going to add to the batter after we've mixed the two of them together. Okay, so when your mixture is creamed together, if you notice in the bowl here, you can see that there's no difference, but you can't tell the difference between margarine, brown sugar, and white sugar, and that's what it should look like when it's all nicely incorporated together. It'll be a little bit pasty, but that's perfect. So to this mixture, we're going to add our 2 eggs. 1. And 2. And our teaspoon of vanilla. And then we'll mix that all together. And then we'll start incorporating the dry ingredients. Okay, welcome back. Before we add the flour mixture into the sugars and egg and stuff like that, I just want to point out that you notice my countertop now, it's nice and clean. As you go along, make sure you're cleaning up as you do so. Makes the process of cleaning up at the end a lot shorter, and it gives you just more space around you, less chance of you knocking things over and causing more accidents and more cleanups than you already do. I've noticed on some of the evaluations that cleanup seems to be an issue for some people. This is kind of a helpful hint to kind of reduce that amount of cleanup all at once. Okay, so now I'm going to start incorporating the flour mixture. You want to put in about a little more than a third at a time, and stir slowly to begin with so that it starts to get incorporated. If you just go gangbusters and just start stirring like mad, you're just going to send flour everywhere. Again, adding to that cleanup that some of you don't like particularly doing anyways. So just kind of move it around and get that flour in there to begin with. Then you can start stirring it a little bit more and you don't end up having a cloud of flour hanging out around you whilst you're doing it. I'm going to show you how I'm adding in the chocolate chips and the coconut, and then we'll put them on the sheet. Now I'm going to put in the chocolate chips and the coconut. If you don't like coconut or you don't have coconut at home, you can put in chopped nuts of any type, be it walnuts, pecans. You could put chopped dates in there. You could do raisins and chocolate chips together, or if you don't even have chocolate chips for that matter, you can just do raisins and stuff. It's really whatever you want to put in that you think might taste good. Having said that, don't go crazy with the chocolate chips. Yeah, a little bit more might be a good idea, but don't go crazy. You got to have enough batter to hold the chocolate chips together, or you're going to find at the bottom of their bowl, after you've done all the cookie batter, you're going to have a whole bunch of loose chocolate chips sitting on the bottom. So don't go crazy. Little extra is okay. Doubling the chocolate chips is not going to work, like doubling the actual doubled recipe. Okay, so I just dumped those in along with my half cup coconut. So half cup coconut, full cup of chocolate chips. And then again, just gently kind of turn the batter over top of itself and the coconuts, and then try and incorporate it all in as much as possible. Trying to even out the ingredients so that you don't have one cookie that's got like half the chocolate chips in it and some of them. Okay, and once you're done like that, your cookie dough is ready for the baking sheet. And I'm going to have my special helper in a minute come by, and she's going to put the cookies on the baking sheet for us. Okay, so I got my little helper here. I got a little M helping me out here, or little Mags. She's using the 2-spoon technique. Okay, so she scoops some onto the metal spoon, and then she helps move it onto the cookie sheet with the mixing spoon that we were using before. And she's basically going to create 4 rows of 3 or a dozen cookies on the one sheet. And then for this recipe, you're going to obviously have to take them off the cookie sheet when they're done baking, put them onto a cooling rack, and then you can fill the cookie sheet back up again with your second round of dough. So she's doing a fantastic job here. Again, you want to try and keep the cookies of equal size, or as close to as you possibly can. That helps the baking process be more even. Okay, you've got some cookies that are really quite a bit larger than others. Then it's just uneven cooking. You also notice that she's not patting them down, she's not rolling them into a little ball or anything like that. She's just basically dropping them onto the cookie sheet. Okay, and that's technically where the name comes from, of a drop cookie. So there you go. Nice, well done. And if you don't quite like the spacing, you can always move them and adjust them afterwards so that they're spacing. There should be about an inch and a half in between each cookie so that they don't end up being one big giant cookie melted together when they go in the oven. Alright, so as you can see, my daughter made a nice tray of cookie dough, or cookies, all nicely portioned, pretty close to being even size. Now we're just going to pop them in the oven. Make sure your rack is in the middle position. You're going to put them in for about 12 to 14 minutes, depending on how your oven is. Set your timer again for the lowest time. If you got to add time, easy to do. You burn the cookies, can't go backwards. Okay, so again, make sure, open up the door all the way, let that heat come out, not in your face. Oven mitt on if you're going to put your hand in the oven. Middle of the rack, close the oven door, set your timer. 12 minutes, hit start, and we'll come back and we'll probably have some really nice tasting cookies. Okay, so I've cooked these for 12 minutes, and you can sort of see they're not quite done on the top. They're starting to go that nice golden brown, but they're still a bit liquidy, or not quite done on the tops. So I'm going to put them back in for another 2 minutes. Okay? So I cooked them for another 2 minutes. They're perfect. They're golden brown on top. They don't look liquidy or kind of soft on the top anymore. But you don't want to try and transfer them right away onto the cooling sheet or the cooling rack, because they'll just fall and bend and stuff like that. You want to let them set on here for maybe another 2-3 minutes, just so they firm up a little bit. Then it makes it nice and easy to transfer them from the cookie sheet and onto here. And then once we transfer them onto here, we can get the next batch going and into the oven. So I hope you try these cookies at home. They're going to taste really, really good. These actually used to be a favorite of the Access program that used to sell these cookies at Nutrition Break in the school. So kind of an old dug up recipe for you. A little nostalgia for Burnaby North. So have yourself a good day. Smash that like button down below if you like this. Maybe subscribe if you haven't done so already, and we hope to see you soon. Okay, so cookies came out. They look fantastic. But here's the real test. I'm gonna have a couple of my little minions here try it out. So there you go, kids. Hopefully it tastes good.
It's delicious, Mr. Mags.
I love it.
There you go. Can't go wrong, eh? Hope you have a good time making them. Take care.